once again, welcome to the mobilization ceremony for the members of the 378 and 625 Movement Control Teams. The units are being called to active federal service in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. In 2003, the 378th Movement Control Team mobilized in Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, earning the official Meritorious Unit Commendation for Extraordinary Meritorious Service. In 2008, the 378 Movement Control Team was notified again for active duty in Iraq. The 625th Movement Control Team mobilized during Operation Noble Eagle in 2002, providing movement control support throughout the United States, and was again mobilized again in 2008, deployed to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Having trained together for a few months now, both movement control teams are fully ready to fulfill their duties.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for letting me come and speak to you today. It's my pleasure on behalf of the 53,000 citizens of Manhattan. I'm humbled to be here today. I am certainly pleased and very happy to see such a large crowd out here today to see you guys deploy. I noticed as I came up how many patches are on the right shoulder, so that means it isn't the first time you've been over there. Some of you may have been over there more than once. We're all proud of you. I do know that it's a chore that you guys don't look forward to, but it's something that's got to be done. Right now, with Karzai over there, we don't know exactly what's going to happen in the political aspect, so you're going in harm's way over there. Our president has said that he's going to reduce the size of the force over there to 6,000. Heavens knows if it counts the reserves or not, because without you guys, nobody's going to move anywhere over there, and you know that for sure. So anyway, I'd just like to thank you. I'd like to thank your families for being here today. And wish you Godspeed and God bless, and come back safe. Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. It's great to see everyone here today. As we come to recognize the soldiers here in the 625 and the 378 movement control teams, and of course your families, who've really answered the call to duty again for many of you. Some of you it's your first time going over. And we understand the importance of the mission, or you understand the importance of the mission as we're getting ready to go. Train hard, and now it's almost time. I want to thank the mayor, Mr. Peppard, and also Major General retired Jacka, a personal friend of mine for many years. I appreciate them being here today to see y'all off. I think it's representative of their leadership that they provide to not only this community but also the state of Kansas. And thank you both for being here. It means a lot to these guys and me. You know, our nation's been at war for now over 12 years. And we've engaged in the longest kinetic operations in the history of our nation. And it's being fought by an all-volunteer force, which is the first time that's being done. And this war and this conflict is being fought in support of the American people. But it's our soldiers, like those sitting here today, who are willing to stand up and be counted upon and put their boots on the ground and serve the nation the way you're doing. You are making a difference in this long war, and you're going to make a difference on the mission that you're about ready to go on. You're the most potent weapon we have, the American soldier. It's a great feeling to be one. When this conflict began in 2001, not all of you, but many of you sitting in this room were just entering your teenage years and probably getting ready to go to grade school or middle school. Let's just tell you how long we've been out there. Now it's your time. It's your time to step forward and to carry the banner of the veterans who have been before you and the many generations in the past. And it's your responsibility to do well when you get there. I'm confident that you're up to the task ahead of you. You may be common men and women from every walk of society in what you do, but you're about to do some uncommon tasks, and you represent an uncommon valor. But just remember that you're out there on point for your nation, and what you do is important to the long-term strategic interests of our country. I want to remind you about the U.S. Army uniform that you're wearing. It's a symbol of our nation's commitment to ensure liberty and freedoms for all those who defend. And throughout the world, this uniform of the United States Army soldier is recognized as a symbol of our nation's commitment to our national will. The Army uniform is a symbol of our organizational values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and most of all, personal courage. The Army uniform is also a symbol of our national values: liberty, justice, equal opportunity, the rule of law, and most importantly, the Army uniform symbolizes hope. It's hope for a better future for not only your family, but those of the oppressed and those who you're going to serve and their families. So during this deployment, you represent more than just yourself as individuals. You are a symbol of our national will and our national values, and therefore your individual actions will, while deployed, will have consequences of national significance. We've seen numerous examples throughout history of the individual actions of the strategic corporal, whose judgments and actions positively or negatively impacted the worldview of the United States. As a deployed soldier, you are also an ambassador and a representative of the United States people and their values, and I am confident you will represent the nation well. I'm reminded of the remark by Winston Churchill made during World War II. He said, "The U.S. Reserve soldiers are twice the citizen." And each of you lead two very challenging, distinct lives. One is a regular citizen working in our community, or your community, and the other is a trained professional soldier ready to mobilize, deploy, and support your nation. And that's what makes you the strength of our nation. I realize many of you have already served in this conflict. You've left the homes and all the comforts you have, and you know what's ahead of you. There's a certain group of you that hasn't gone yet, so they're getting ready. So they'll understand by the time you return back. But I think it's important today that we recognize your families. Their service is marked by their unwavering support of you. Family members may not carry a rifle on their shoulder or a ruck on their back, but they carry the weight of worry. They carry this burden until you come home. Just as you soldiers are making sacrifices overseas, they are making sacrifices at home, and we need to remember that. So when we honor you, we're also honoring your family. So everything you do is about you, your family, and your nation. So to your families, we owe a special thank you. You share your love with the Army and your nation. We thank you for your sacrifices and for your silent service and support. I also want to thank you and extend thanks to our civilian employers. We appreciate their unwavering support during the many years of this deployments that have happened and the training requirements that it takes to get your soldiers ready to go. And you can't do it without them. So it's the family, the employer, and the soldier, all one team or one fight. And we need it more now than we ever have. And so when I look out here at the group of you soldiers, you look well, you're fit, I'm excited for you. And I think about it, you could have been doing something else during this time. You chose to be here to serve your country. That's the most honorable thing that you can do. Each of you are true patriots. So in conclusion, you're probably not going to remember a thing you said today, probably, as you get ready to go. But then again, maybe you will. But there's a couple things I do want you to remember as you go to do it. If you can just remember this. And I'm not going to talk like Forrest Gump, the movie Forrest Gump, when Lieutenant Dan told Bud and Forrest, keep your socks dry and don't get yourself shot. The two things I'm going to tell you about is remember your battle buddy and look out for each other. You got to do that. You have got to be the leader that steps up when someone is about to do something that's immoral, need to come home with your head high and you need to share with your loved ones the great accomplishments that you're going to accomplish over there. So if you remember that one thing, and the other thing is you need to learn to write home and communicate with your families, your employers, girlfriends, boyfriends, or whatever. They want to know what's going on. Certain things you can't tell them when you're over there, but there's a lot you can do. I know we got email and all these other things, but if you ever heard of a thing called email, which is personal mail, it's going to write. You can write on a MRE case, you can do all kinds of things, but you can send letters back. And parents, it doesn't cost them a thing to send a letter back, so expect a letter from home. And they like to get letters too from you too. So those are the two things I want you to know. Don't do anything that's immoral, illegal, or unsafe while you're over there. And make sure you look out for each other. And remember to communicate back. So, in conclusion, I'm sure everyone here today would like to join me in wishing everyone here to give these soldiers a good round of applause before they get ready to go out the door. Let me do that for a minute. Now I'm going to ask you soldiers to do something you didn't know. Okay, stand up. Now I want y'all to recite after me. The soldier's creed, okay? Just repeat after me. I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am a warrior and a member of a team.
I am a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States.
I serve the people of the United States.
And I live the Army values.
And I live the Army values.
I will always place the mission first.
I will always place the mission first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never quit.
And I will never leave a fallen comrade.
And I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough.
I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I will always maintain my arms and my equipment and myself.
I will always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom.
I am a guardian of freedom
And the American way of life.
and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
Cool.
Whoa!
All right. So take your seat. All right. I'll see you in a couple of weeks at Fort Hood before you get ready to head overseas. So I'm looking forward to seeing that training that you'll do about 3 days. Thank you.
Right after fall, sir. Thanks anyway. That pares it down a bit. That's all right. First of all, I want to send a good afternoon to everybody. I really appreciate to see Major General Retired Jack, Ambassador Jack here today. Nice to always see you. And Mayor Pepper, nice to see you, meet you finally. Also, thanks, General Jones. Any other local community leaders that might be out there in attendance today, families, friends, soldiers, NCOs, and officers of the 625th and 378 Movement Control Teams. Today I'm very honored to be part of this significant event in 450th Movement Control Battalion history, the farewelling of 2 of its movement control teams in support of the regular rotation of forces to Afghanistan. In looking at both units, I see 3 significant things that stand out. First and foremost, personnel, or who's in the units. Both units have a good mix of soldiers that are trained, well-trained. They're all well-trained. But there's a good mix of ones that have deployed multiple times. And of course, you've got a mix of soldiers that's their first time. Along with that, their leadership. 625th, Lieutenant Palmer, Sergeant First Class McCullough. First Lieutenant George and Special Sergeant First Class Hawkins of the 378 undoubtedly were chosen because they too are experienced and have deployed themselves. So with this, soldiers and the leadership, a good mix to ensure successful mission accomplishment. And that leads me into the third one. Your missions are similar. Your missions are going to be, I can assure you, they're going to be demanding. But crucial to the supporting the support of theater operations in theater. This brings me back to a time in which I deployed with the 561st Regional Support Group as their Chief of Staff in 2009 and 2010. Lieutenant Colonel Boganowski was also part of that deployment. We deployed to Victory Base Camp in Baghdad, Iraq. We were actually the garrison command. We managed a city of about 70,000 people. We had 6 full operating bases on that that made up that whole complex. With that said, the units that I remember that were working extremely hard and were even going to start working even harder were the movement control teams that were present there in Iraq. We were right on the apex of starting the drawdown and sending stuff back home and personnel. You guys will have a very demanding mission, but you're up to the task. You're well trained, you have excellent leadership, and you have great experience throughout. So on behalf of the 561st Regional Support Group, we wish both the 625th and the 378 best of luck, Godspeed. Most importantly, we look forward to each and every control team member safe return home to your families, friends, and loved ones. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm going to take a different track. I've deployed 3 times now, and each time my parents would approach me and say, "Are you sure that the leadership that's over you really knows what they're doing?" You're absolutely sure, because they're giving their baby, yes, I'm the baby, over to the United States Army, basically. And the commanders in their mind are the people, commanders in NCOIC in this case, in my opinion, are the folks that lead the mission. They ensure that the mission gets done, but they also take care of the troops. What I can tell you, families, friends, is that the leadership teams, these 2 MCTs, are successful. And I know I'm supposed to stand up here and say that, but okay, they really know what they're doing. Lieutenant George has not deployed, but that is not a deficit in my mind at all. He has got one heck of a team, starting with Sergeant Class Hawkins, all the way down through all of his soldiers. I haven't personally met each and every one of them and talked to them face to face. That will happen when I go there. But what I can tell you is that these 2 gentlemen know what they're doing. They really care, and that's, in my mind, the most important piece. Lieutenant Palmer has a completely different leadership style, and Sergeant McCullough, and different is not bad, different is good. They approach things in very systematic ways. She comes with tons of energy. She's a perfectionist. Sergeant McCullough he's a great sounding board for her. And so, same way, 625th, they have exceptional leadership as well. I hope that gives you just an inkling of insight into these 3 units. I have tremendous confidence in their ability. I've been talking to both of them, both the leadership teams over the last couple months, and every time I talk to them, it gives me a great feeling to be a soldier, because they truly are professionals, and they know what they're doing. So, with that, I would urge all soldiers to stay in contact with families and friends back home, all right? That's huge. We go to war, we know what's going on, whatever news reports come out, your families, your friends are looking up the news reports, and they are hoping they don't hear a name that they know, all right? It's huge that you all stay in contact. contact with family and friends back here in the rear. And buddy teams. Every place you go, everything you do, buddy team. All right? Especially you two. All right? We take care of each other, and that means that sometimes Sergeant Hawkins will say, "Sir, still lay your head down. Looking kind of ragged around the edges." Same thing with you, talking to her. If you said "sir," you'd probably get punched. You guys know what I'm saying. I'll add my Godspeed to y'all, and I will see you at Fort Hood. I look forward to it. Talking to you more. Thank you.
Sir, Sergeant Major, distinguished guests, families, and soldiers, I want to take the opportunity to publicly acknowledge my pride for my unit of soldiers, NCOs, and my two lieutenants here. I couldn't be more proud of you guys. You guys have heard me talk enough about training and what's going to be happening with our mission, and you'll continue to hear more of me than you probably want in the next year. So I just want your families and the senior command to understand that you guys have done a magnificent job in preparation in short order, and that you guys are my primary source of motivation as we move out to execute our mission. So thank each of you for what you've done. I'd like to thank the senior commands for everything you guys have done to support us through this whole process and get us ready again in very short order. Thank you. But most importantly, the families, each of you that provide support for every one of my soldiers. You guys are our foundation. You keep things sound and straight for us at home, and I know especially with my wife, she's done more than she probably realizes. I'm sure she realizes she's done a ton for me already, but there's more than you know. Logistically, emotionally, I appreciate everything you've done, and families, I know that all my soldiers feel precisely the same way. And we're going to continue to need you throughout the year. I echo exactly what Colonel Boganowski said. We're going to do our best to stay in touch with you. Please do your best to stay in touch with us. We're going to need it. But, guys, we're going to do great. You've shown me, you've demonstrated up to this point that you are the professionals that I need to be successful in my job commanding. You guys execute wonderfully. I have all the faith in the world. Sergeant Hawkins, we're going to keep it straight. So, thank you all very much.
Good afternoon. I prepared a few short notes so I don't ramble too much. I'd like to welcome our distinguished guests, the gentleman on stage here with me today, and all of you here in support of the soldiers that we will be deploying with. I first met most of the soldiers about 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago. A couple of them I deployed with before. Luckily, they agreed to come with me again. Some of them I worked with on an annual training exercise. But the majority of them I met a little less than 2 months ago, and Sergeant McCall and I discussed it at nauseum, how nervous we were, what kind of soldiers we were getting, how flexible are they in this mission, what kind of work ethic do they have. And I had some pretty awful dreams about it, about what could go wrong. But I got to tell you, I met them, I was blown away. We came together for events and training. That doesn't include just the soldiers. That includes the family members as well. The first family member I got to meet was, at the time, Specialist Huff, now Specialist Castellanos. I met her mom. And she's my FRG person, and I was the one who got to break to her the news of the timeline shifts and everything that was going on. And she impressed me. She was very nervous. She's like most parents with young soldiers are deploying for the first time. She was nervous. She tried to hide it, to be strong for her daughter, and be nothing but supportive. I then got to eat lunch. We had a yellow ribbon event, and I got to eat lunch with Sergeant Reynolds' wife and his little daughter, well, the little girl. And again, blown away. Just great people. Just great. I can't even say enough good things. And then I got to interact with the soldiers themselves, both one-on-one and as a team. I got to sit on some of the training we got to conduct. I challenged PFC Lauterbach on the combatives mat. He refused to fight, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm intimidating. Then I saw his fighting style and I understood why. He was protecting me, not himself. I got to see Private Lawrence and Private Johnson work their differences out on the combative unit. It was an exciting day. I got to listen to some motivational trash talk between Sergeant First Class Huggard and, again, Private Lauterbach on the PT field. That motivated me quite a bit. Made me push myself a little bit more, see if I could keep up with them. I not so much pretty short for that, but I did my best. And I got to sit through some great classes on everything from Army values to using a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to cultural training awareness briefs. And I got to gain some insight from individuals such as Sergeant Williams, Sergeant Reynolds, who had recently deployed and have gotten back less than a year ago from the theater in Jewish rebuilding. And they got to tell me about the operations and how they run over there, because I deployed to Iraq, and I understand completely different, but they kind of set me up for success on what to expect as soon as we hit ground, and for that I thank you. And again, I'm even more impressed after all the training we've done together, all the events we've been to together, by the caliber of people we have in our unit. And all of you sitting here today, not in uniform, no matter what your relationship to my soldiers is, whether you're family, friends, co-workers, what have you, or you just decided to wander in off the street, you have helped shape them into what and who they are. And for that, goodness, sorry. I get a little teary when I talk to soldiers and their families about how grateful I am. For that, I am very grateful. Because who and what they are sitting before you and me today is what's going to make our mission successful. It's what makes us a unit, and it's what's going to make us come home successful and with mission accomplishment under our belt. I've been very blessed so far in the people with whom I've gotten to deploy and work. Someone has seen fit to keep that tradition going. I couldn't ask for a better crew. And again, I thank all of you sitting here today for that. I thank you for entrusting them and their safety to myself and Sergeant McCullough. And we will see you all again when we get home.